So first of all, thank you. Thank you so much for the warm welcome back last Sunday. All those flowers, they were so beautiful and colorful. And it is lovely, lovely to be with you again here and online. And I'm slowly reacquainting myself with life at First Parish, catching up on what I missed during my 4-month sabbatical. I'm delighted to see some new faces here. And I hope to get to meet you and hear more about what brought you to this wonderful congregation. I look forward to catching up with the rest of you and hearing what you learned while I was away. As you listen to other voices and perspectives from the pulpit, or participated in the conversations with the Spirit of Life team, or just hanging out with one another. And finally, thank you for the sabbatical time. I recognize what a generous gift it was. It's very apropos that this month's Soul Matters theme is the gift of renewal. A perfect segue into talking about returning from sabbatical, as that's its purpose, right? Renewal. This morning, I'm going to share a bit about how the sabbatical time renewed my mind, body, and spirit, and I hope yours as well. I had a list. I had a long list that I hoped to accomplish during my time away, and of course, I didn't do most of it. I didn't read the books that I hoped, nor did I do all the writing that I planned. I didn't get my basement cleaned out, nor my garage, nor even my car. I did manage to move a few books off my shelves, but when I look, there are still plenty more that I need to move on. I didn't read through the piles of notes that I took and the papers that I have accumulated over the years from all those seminars and workshops and retreats I've attended. Honestly, I spent the first month doing very little. Hanging out, spending time with my parents and Josh and Henry, baking, new recipes, and resting, something my dogs thought was very grand and joined right in. After about a month, I picked up the pace a little. I started working with a writing coach who's helping me imagine and structure the writing I do want to do someday. With weekends free, I was able to go visit my older son, Sam, and his fiancée, Taylor, who bought a new townhouse in North Carolina. They grow up. I went on a retreat at the Bon Secours Center in Baltimore that was led by my clergy coach, Reverend Larry Pierce. And Josh and I did a lot of fun things together. We walked with my mom and dad almost every nice day there was. We joined a trivia team at our local pub. And we win a lot. It was a good mix of people. I get to answer all the religious and literature questions. We took 2 big trips, one to Hawaii, which was amazing and beautiful because it's Hawaii, and one to Poland, the country where my mother is from. I've never been there, and it was powerful on a lot of fronts. I met 3 generations of cousins, 20 in all, in the first 36 hours I was there. In 2 cities, Warsaw and Gdansk. I saw Krakow, the city where my mother was born and spent her formative years. Josh and I went to Belzec, the extermination camp where my grandfather was taken during World War II. It's only 25 miles from the Ukrainian border. And we saw reminders of how close that war is through the military convoys we saw delivering supplies and troops on the highway. So perhaps I did more than I thought, just not what I had on my list. But the real gift that you gave me over my sabbatical was spaciousness. As the poet May Sarton wrote so beautifully, I always forget how important the empty days are, how important it may be sometimes not to expect to produce anything, even a few lines in a journal. The last 8 years have felt relentlessly chaotic and stress-filled between these polarizing elections of 2016 and 2020, the pandemic, violent and heartbreaking conflicts abroad, and a planet in peril. And it does not promise to let up in the next year as we face yet another polarizing election cycle that threatens our democracy again. All of this is mirrored at every level, internationally, nationally, between neighbors, between generations, between peoples who share differing histories of oppression and marginalization, even in our own denomination. Delegates from Unitarian Universalist congregations are preparing to convene at our annual General Assembly toward the end of this month to vote on changes to Article 2, what we call our purposes and principles, the covenant of our Unitarian Universalist community. Being Unitarian Universalists, there are, of course, differing opinions. But there are also some very strong feelings undergirding those differing opinions. And this week, I was sent a petition by one of my colleagues asking for Unitarian Universalists to stop the negativity and name-calling that is happening around the debate over these proposed changes. We are not immune to the reactivity that surrounds us. I have an empathetic personality. I absorb emotion. I absorb not only emotion from individuals, but from whole groups, from whole rooms of people. This helps me in my job because I not only listen to what people say to me, I can listen to what they feel. I can listen to hearts as well as to words. The downside, though, is that when there are a lot of strong emotions swirling around, ones like anger or fear, anxiety, reactivity, I can get lost trying to discern between what emotions belong to others and what I'm actually feeling myself. I don't have enough room. And with everything moving so fast in recent years, I've lost some of that spaciousness to know my own soul, to attend to its voice. I want to be clear that this is not because of this congregation. It's not you, okay? Part of it was the pandemic, the consequence of the pandemic. Leading a congregation remotely, separated from all of you, was hard and lonely, and I felt a tremendous responsibility on my own to make sure that this institution got through that time intact. And I put that on myself. You did not. That's one of the patterns I realized, having the spaciousness to think about myself. That's one of the patterns I struggle with from time to time. Feeling like I need to fix everything and make everybody happy. And I can't. In fact, it's not my job. And it's not within my power to do so. I'm here to walk with you, to accompany you in our shared religious journey, our shared ministries, grounded in the covenant of our Unitarian Universalist faith. in the practice of the spirit of life and love, as Reverend Russ shared last week. To engage in the realities and the messiness and the grief and the joy of being human together. And sabbatical reminded me that these require spaciousness, something that our hyperactive, reactive, anxious, and often self-righteous culture, driven by social media and algorithms and clicks and consumerism and the selling of quick fixes and magical thinking, does not allow. Life is not simple. Human beings are not simple. The problems we are facing are not simple. We will not heal a polarized nation, a polarized world, or our endangered planet through quick fixes that cost us nothing. Sacrifice, humility, resilience, and mercy are needed. And those can't be achieved through slogans and campaign promises. They require spaciousness, room for listening, learning, moving through things like the complexities and contradictions, moving through grief and loss, holding truths that are in conflict on the surface, but speak to our common humanity at a deeper level. Develop a mind that is vast like space, where experiences both pleasant and unpleasant can appear and disappear without conflict, struggle, or harm. Rest in a mind like vast sky, taught the Buddha. This takes practice, commitment, and a willingness to be still and make room amidst the chaos. The next few months leading up to and following the election will be difficult. Reactive, chaotic, anxious, maybe even violent. We don't know. And we can't fix or control that. We can speak up for what we believe is right. We can speak our truth in love. We can get out the vote. But we can't control the behavior of presidents past, present, or future, nor angry voters, extremists, or leaders in other countries. But we can ground ourselves in the courage of our souls to meet what comes with integrity, compassion, and wisdom. So I encourage us to make this a place where we practice spaciousness, where we make room to attend to the voice of our own souls and the sacred soul of creation, the spirit of life and love. To be moved and to live and to act from that grounded, holy place with intention and care. To draw from the well of blessing that we can create here. I'd like to close my sermon by going back to the meditation I started with, Jan Richardson. So I invite you just to take a breath. Center yourselves, eyes open, eyes closed, whatever you are comfortable with. To make space, spaciousness for your soul. Let's quiet our voices, quiet our judgment, quiet the way we always tell our stories to ourselves. Let us quiet all these, and we will hear the whole of it and the hollows of it, the spaces in the telling the gaps where we hesitate to go. Sit at the rim of this blessing and let us press our ears to its lip, its sides, its curves that were carved out long ago by those whose thirst drove them deep, those who dug into the layers with only their hands and hope. Let us rest. Let us rest ourselves beside this blessing, and we will begin to hear the sound of water entering the gaps. Let us still ourselves, and we will feel it rising up within us, filling every emptiness, springing forth anew.